All right, welcome back to J-Face Games. Today we're talking about a game called Household. This is a very interesting game. It's on Kickstarter right now. It uses what's called the Fortune System by Broken Compass. And they actually have an old game that was like a pulp fiction, sort of Indiana Jones style game that I don't know anything about. But I'm sure it uses the same system. Household's very interesting. It's sort of set like Ghibli Studios Arietta, like the Borrowers, where you're lots of small individual people living in a giant, normal, human-sized house. And so there's different factions like fairies and etc. And cool setting. It's not usually the type I'd play, but I'd definitely try it out. But the reason I pulled this game up is because it had an interesting... Anytime I see a game that has custom dice, I'm always interested in what are they doing. And so I downloaded their playtest to see what their math was behind their dice pools and what it looked like. But then I saw how they do character design, and I saw their skills and what they call skills and fields, and I was like, oh man, this is great. Because what they do is they have... This is up here, we have these skills and fields, right? So fields are groupings of skills, and they have 20 skills, and each field has 5 skills, right? So the fields are society, academia, war, and street. Well, let's break them down real quick. Society has 5 skills. Art, which is sort of like analyzing art. Charm, seducing someone, making a good impression. Eloquence, speaking, convincing, deceiving. Etiquette, knowing what to do in a situation. Grace, which is your acrobatics, balancing, etc. Pretty cool. Academia is your care, so healing people, craft, building stuff. Culture, knowing, like knowledge, general knowledge, cultural knowledge. Insight, we know insight, we know investigation. Those are kind of straightforward ones. Now, we have war, which is like your combat scenario. It's your athletics, being able to do athletics checks. Authority, which is sort of like leadership like we do, and intimidation. Fight, melee. Strength, being able to actually lift things, push things, pull things. Will, which is sort of like constitution, endure pain, breaking something, etc. Cool. And then street, which is caution, so alertness or perception, in essence. Dexterity, we know dexterity. Illusion, which is moving stealthily, hiding, evading, escaping. Exploration, and then shooting, which is your ranged combat. So I thought these were really well done. The fact they got 5 in each, and these have great themes to them, I thought this was really well done. I applauded this concept in general. And what they do, what's really cool, is in character design, in essence, you create, there's like classes and then vocations, which are like subclasses in essence. And you choose a class. The first thing you get with that class is an expertise in a field. So automatically you get like +1 die in one of these groups. So you get good at all of the things in that group. The second thing is you then get individual skills that give you plus die to individual skills, right? And then your vocation does the same thing. What's really neat is the way they design encounters in this game. They call them like threats or something else. Is that every threat has a theme to it, meaning that you are going to have a societal threat, or an academia threat, or a war threat, or a street threat. So the threats or the encounters fall within the fields, and you're not supposed to be able to pull in skills from other fields to engage. So if you're in a society threat or encounter, you can't all of a sudden just start using war. Now there might be like, class designs that break this or feats that break this, but I thought that was really neat that it gives this sort of like, look, these are the 5 skills you're going to be able to use currently in this sort of like encounter. I thought that was kind of cool, right? And I'm sure there might be some bridging, or the DM could overrule, yeah, that makes sense, let's do that. Obviously, that can always happen. So you have this 20 skills broken up, 5 in each field. You have this class design where you're going to get specialized in different fields and have different skill sets. Really cool so far. Well, how do they do health? Health is in essence turmoil or tension. These are 2 different sort of like health stats. Turmoil deals with the fields of society and academia. Tension deals with the fields of war and street. So watch this is really neat. So each of these fields, you have in essence 5 hit points or 5 boxes to be checked in either turmoil or in tension. So you've got 10 boxes total, 5 in each. When you're in an encounter using, say, society, if you take damage, you would check the turmoil boxes. If you check 1, nothing really happens to you yet. 2 are checked, now you've lost a dice. 3 are checked, you've lost 2 dice, so you're getting really bad. 4, this is like last-ditch efforts, so you're actually better. When you're at 4, you're actually better than normal. And then if you get 5, you are knocked out of all the relative fields. So if I ever have 5 turmoil, I can't use any of my society or academia skills, nor can I participate technically in a society or academia like skill challenge or encounter. But I might be full up and still ready to go in any sort of war or street sort of stuff. So that's really interesting. I think that's kind of interesting how it's like you can be knocked out of one type of encounters, but not the others, right? So there's a lot of cool stuff in terms of how they do their skills, fields, and turmoil and tension. Now, what's the math or the game design here? Well, the game design is it's a D6 rolling game, where it's dice pools with D6s. And they have custom D6s where it's on the 6 sides, they have 4 sides, which are the different suits of a card deck: spades, hearts, clubs, and diamonds. And then they have a joker, and then they have a blank. And the idea of the game is you're rolling dice pools, and you're just trying to get a matching set, right? And so if you get 2 pair, so if I'm rolling 2 dice, I'm going to get either 2 hearts or 2 diamonds or 2 clovers. It doesn't matter what the suit is, I just need a pair. And a joker counts as anything. A joker counts as anything, and a blank counts as nothing. Well, then there might be, this is someone on, so they have in the book, someone did the math, but I had someone in like Stack Overflow or somewhere help me out with the math because it was wrong, and they computed the math, it was a little different. Where in essence, like, yes, there might be a basic success, which is 2 of a kind, but 3 of a kind is a critical success, 4 of a kind is extreme, 5 is impossible success, right? And then what happens is over here, this is showing how many dice are you trying to roll to get a pair, a triple, a quad, or a quintuplet, right? And so this is showing their mathematical breakdown, right? So if you got 3 dice, 58% chance of getting a pair. That's okay. 4 dice, 75% chance, and et cetera, et cetera. And so then the DM might set like, this is a critical scenario, this is challenging, so you've got to get a triplets. And it's like, oh crap, how do I get a dice pool together to do that? The other thing that's interesting is that there are success differences where if you get a critical technically is also the equivalent of 2 basic successes, right? To me, that sounds like, and there's no real like, actually I think there was an interesting system for the monsters, like what damage is and what things are. I wasn't 100% thrilled with it because there's no AC, it's just if you get a success you do like a damage to it, right? And there's like, maybe a monster has 7 boxes to check off. Well, technically, if the monster needs a basic attack to do damage to it, if I get a critical on it, that counts as 2 basics, so it's like I get to check 2 boxes. If I get an extreme success, that's technically 2 criticals, which is technically 4 basics, which maybe if I get an extreme success, I actually do 4 damage to it, right? So, interesting. Really interesting game. I am obsessed right now with these skill boxes. They sound really cool to me. And it makes me wonder if you... I don't want to, mess around with my game too much, but you could peel apart some things. Like you could say that authority is technically leadership. Fight is technically melee striker. Shoot is technically range striker. There's nothing really for controller because technically strength is doing some controller stuff at a melee level, but not at a distance level. And there's nothing really in here for defender. Maybe the only thing in here is like illusion is somewhat defendy. So you couldn't technically copy and paste some of this over, but I do like this. For some reason, this resonates more for me than the 13th age background system that we have currently embedded in the game, where it's you just choose a concept and now you just level that up and that's your skill dice. I always loved Open Legend in their sort of system, all their skills or their attributes, but there was such a weird pairing of them. There were like 3 like physical, 3 something else, 5 social, and then like 8 elemental or magical. And so it was a weird balance, and I never, like, I liked it, but it wasn't enough. This feels really good. Like, I think this is really clean. So I might have to think on this, and if I want to try to really hybridize some stuff, import this sort of skill system, import some stuff from ICRPG, look at how those blend with the defender, controller, leader, and striker, melee and striker ranged marksman. Because I still love that idea of it's not just I'm good at fight and I just roll fight. Now it sounds like the way this game's built is that there are probably a ton of encounters that are society encounters and academia encounters. So you can't just be someone who's all fight, because that doesn't do anything for you. Like in a D&D game where you can, a lot of times you can fight your way out of most stuff. And the DM will make it so that you could at least. So anyways, that's today's game or today's video on Household. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button, and leave some comments. I'm curious what you guys think about this. This is pretty cool.